Alright, good day everybody. Welcome back to our C++ text RPG series. Today we're going to be looking into starting the in-game menu. RPG games can be very menu heavy. Players need to have access to inventory, stats, equipment, and we also need to be able to save the game accordingly. So that's where the in-game menu comes in. This is the menu that ties most of the other game menus together. This menu in our game will be used to choose what menu you want to use and the player that you want to use that menu on. Some of the menus that will be available are the items menu, equipment menu, status menu, magic menu, player order or just menu order, or just order, sorry, game settings, save option, exit option. So that's what we're going to have in our game. So let's look at a simple layout of an in-game menu. As you can see here, there will be a selector where you'll be able to choose what menu you want. So with this, you can either choose items, equipment, magic, status, order, or save the game. And then if you choose items, a new selector will appear, allowing you to choose which character that you want to use the items on. The menu will also display the gold that's in the party, the current amount of gold that you have in the party. Another option would be that it has the time for how long the player has been playing the game. This would be saved with the other things in the games as well, like the inventory, what is equipped on each player, the experience points. This would all be saved. There could be other options that we could put in here as well. However, this is plenty for us in our small game. So we'll start with this today. So actually, let's take a little look at an in-game menu from a real game. Alright, a good example of an in-game menu would be this one here from Final Fantasy. I've shown you this before, but it's the same idea. So the in-game menu, allows you to access your items, your magic, equipment. They call it formation here. I guess that'd be a better name. I'm not sure what memo is. And then your configuration. So you're able to access these things from your in-game menu. So that's going to be our goal as well. Alright, so let's get started on creating the in-game menu. Alright guys, so before we can start working on the in-game menu, we're going to have to make some changes to our console because we're going to have lines that have to go across the screen in order to make the panels or the border for the in-game menu. Let me just open this up. In-game menu ideas right here. So as you can see, I made this in Sprite, by the way. Pretty good pixel art program. I do recommend it. So we're going to need to be able to make these borders quickly, and we don't want to be doing it over and over again. We're going to create a function in our console class that will handle this for us. We're going to have three functions, and we're going to call it void, draw, panel, horizontal, and that's going to take in your X position, your Y position, your length, like how far you want it to go. We're going to want our color. It will default to white. Sorry. And we also want to take in the character. It will default to the equal sign, but if you want, you can change to whatever you like. So if you want it to be a dash or stars, it's up to you, but we're going to default to the equal sign. So we're going to have basically the same thing, except this is going to be for vertical, your vertical line. And we'll call that height. We'll change this to verts. And then we'll have another optional one, which is going to be the draw panel itself. And that's going to be a little bit more. So your X and your Y is basically your top left-hand corner. So we're going to have a size T in length. We're also going to need the height, because this is a panel itself. Color white. And then we're going to have two different characters. The width char. I guess we could put this in as a reference as well. Not that rare. I don't know why they put it there. the width character, and the height character. Again, you can change these if you want. Okay, so that should be good for these functions. Let's start defining them. We'll start with horizontal. Okay, so this is a pretty straightforward function. So we're just going to need stw string, and we'll just call this panel. We'll call this s panel hors is equal to just an empty string for now. And then we'll just have a for loop. Int I equals 0. I is less than length. I plus plus. And then we're just going to want to and then we're going to want to write it. And color. Alright, so let's do panel vert. It's going to be similar, so it's just for int I equals 0. Y plus I, because we want to go down each time. X won't change, but Y does, because we're doing our horizontal, or our vertical line, sorry, not horizontal. And then we're going to want to write just the character and the color. Alright, so let's go into the draw panel. We wanted to do this one last because we're going to call these functions inside of our draw. I don't know why I called it draw panel vert. I must not have been paying attention. So let's change that. Not draw panel vert, just draw panel. So this will draw the, oh, okay, because I just copied the line. So this one we're going to want to draw two horizontals. So draw panel horizontal, and that's X, Y, length, width char, and color for the first one. Oh wait, no, color and then width char, sorry. So for the second one, it's similar, except we want this one at height, length, color, width. That should work. So now let's draw our vertical. Draw panel vert, and that'll be X. And we're going to want this one Y minus 1, because we actually want to draw this one plus 1, sorry, because we want it just below this Y. And this will be height. Color and height chart. So copy this again. And this one, we actually want it to be X plus width minus 1. Oh, we didn't call it width. Should have called it width. That's what we're going to go back and call it. So let's change that to width. And we actually want these to be height minus 1. Height minus 1. Okay, so let's test this out really fast. Before we go any further, we'll just test it out with the panel. We can just test it out right here. Let's just go draw border. And this will be at 1, 0, oh sorry, int x, int y. That's all we're not going to need any of this in here because the border is going to be constant and it's never going to change. So let's just go into here. And we just want to draw panel at 1, 0. So we're doing the width, so it's screen width -1, and then screen height -1. I think that should work. Let's see. So let's draw a border. We'll always be drawing the border. We'll just put that in the draw function. And see. Now, if I didn't make any mistakes, we should have a border around the entire. Nope. Okay, so let's see where we're. So right now we're writing outside. That's why we put this in here. We wanted to check. So our position is 617 plus text size. So see, we're drawing here. So let's check our call stack. So panel horizontal. Which one is that? So it's this one right here is drawing beyond. Yeah, so our width 127 is going in. Let's subtract 2 instead because we're starting at 1. That's the issue right there. We're starting at 1. So we're going beyond our buffer. So let's go back and fix that in our draw border. Wherever we put that. Yeah, right here. So -2. Get rid of that now. Yay! See, we got a nice, beautiful border. So the draw panel works, and it works the way that we want it to work. Perfect. By creating this draw panel, it actually tested out all of our functions we just created there. So that's working the way we want. Now we can start the in-game menu. So if you remember from before, we created our state machine. And we have our game state. So all new states need to override these functions here. So we can just copy this for now. And then in our states, new. And we'll just call this game menu state.h. This needs to include state. Or we called it iState, sorry. So we basically just pasted those in there, and we're going to want to get rid of all this. Okay, so our in-game menu or our game menu state, we're going to have to pass a few things into our constructor. So let's go with game menu state. We're going to need a reference to the party. We're going to need a reference to the console. We're going to need a reference to the state machine. And we're also going to need a reference to the keyboard. Now, instead of sending these all in, we could create a context that contains all of these references and just send in the context, but we'll just do this for now. So as you can see, we have our squiggly lines because we don't know what these are. So let's just forward declare all of those. So class party, class console, class state machine, and then class keyboard. Okay, so we have those now. So we're going to need some private members. We're going to have that as, let's just do party first. Party and party. Console. State machine. And the keyboard. We're going to have some other variables as well, but let's just get this going first. The destructor. So the first thing we're going to do is initialize our references. So with the game menu state, it is one of those states that goes on top of the game state itself. So when we're pushing the game menu state, we're not popping off the game state here. So it's going on top, but we're not updating the game state. We'll only be updating the game menu state in that moment. When we want to leave, we basically just want to check if keyboard dot. So okay, first we need to include all those things that we forward declared here. Well, now we need to include them in our CPP. So we're going to need the party. We're going to need the console. We're going to need the keyboard. Oh yeah, keyboard is in inputs. We're going to need the state machine, which is in our directory. So now we have those. So now we can check the keyboard. So keyboard dot is just pressed. Key backspace. We'll use backspace to leave. Eventually we'll have an input manager, so we don't have hard-coded buttons. So this is a hard-coded keyboard, but you might not want to use the keyboard or the backspace here. This is hard-coded backspace. You might not want to use the backspace here, so that's why we make the input manager. The input manager will allow us to have action codes, and then we set the action based on keys set based on the actions, and you'll be able to change those keys in settings, but that's way later out. So we'll look into that later. But right now, if we hit backspace, we just want to state machine, pop state, and just return here. All right. So let's go into our game state. Game state.cpp. Again, this would be another one where we wouldn't want to have it hard coded, but we're going to just do this for now. So if mkeyboard dot is key just pressed, And we're just going to want to say key, and we'll just use it M for now. We're going to want to push that state on. Dot push state. And if you remember, we're using the state pointer, and the state pointer is a unique pointer. So we need to go do that now. So std make unique game menu state. Now it doesn't know what that is. We're gonna have to put that in there. Game menu state, so now it knows. And now we have to finish this. So if we push key M, game menu state, so we're gonna need the party. We're going to need the console. We're going to need the state machine. And we're going to need the keyboard. Now that should work, but just to make sure, let's go to our game menu state and draw. And console. We'll just write 2010. We are in the game menu. What color do we want? Red. Cool. Process inputs. So if we pop. All right, let's run it and see what happens. No, it doesn't like us. So our two overloads cannot convert the argument types. Why? Let's take a look. Keyboard. So these are all, so that's a reference. I see. So this is a unique pointer because we took that pointer. We created the party here. Yeah, this is just temporary. I forgot. So this is all temporary for now. We're gonna have to change that later. So that should work. Yeah. Okay, so we just want to hit M. Yay, we're in our game menu. And if we hit backspace, we're out. We should clear that real fast. So on exit. So it looks like we are clearing the buffer on game state. But we didn't exit it. That's the thing. Because we're not popping. So if we go back to our state machine, we only call on exit when we pop the state. So we're pushing a state for the game menu state. So we should clear the buffer here. And clear the buffer here. And it should work. So we're still doing our index. Bang, we're in the game menu. And if I hit backspace, perfect. So that's the start of the game menu. Alright guys, so that's long enough for this video. So we started the game menu there. We're popping and pushing the way that we want. We don't want to actually pop the game state because the game state will be a constant running state. Everything else will be pushed on top of the game state and then popped off accordingly. So that's working. We're going to have to change how we create our party. The party will probably be created in the title state and then moved into the game state, and then from the game state there on, everything will be a reference. But we'll look into that in the next video. The next video, we will finish the game state. All right, talk to you then.